So let's start with a small video game.
I am a visionary. Illuminating galaxies to witness the birth of stars. And sharpening our understanding of extreme weather events. I am a helper, guiding the blind through a crowded world.
I was thinking about running to the store.
And giving voice to those who cannot speak.
Do not make me laugh.
I am a transformer, harnessing gravity to store renewable power. And paving the way towards unlimited clean energy for us all. I am a trainer, teaching robots to assist, to watch out for danger, and help save lives. I am a healer, providing a new generation of cures and new levels of patient care.
Doctor, that I am allergic to penicillin. Is it still okay to take the medications?
Definitely. These antibiotics don't contain penicillin, so it's perfectly safe for you to take them.
I am a navigator, generating virtual scenarios to let us safely explore the real world and understand every decision. I even helped write the script. Breathe life into the words en muchos idiomas y escribí la música. I am AI, brought to life by NVIDIA, deep learning, and brilliant minds everywhere.
So that's sort of an introduction to AI by AI. And as you can see, a lot of things cross your discipline, right? So whatever is presented, in fact, like that's a very common, supposed to be a more of an AI presentation or a video, but it talks a lot about healthcare because it being so impactful. And I mean, healthcare being so impactful, and AI seems to play a good role in it. And that's how that video goes. So, but not just healthcare, as you can see, even this particular, it was mentioned, the particular video, the complete video is the music, the background music for the complete video is composed by AI. An AI tool did it completely. Although it was played by the London Symphony, it was composed completely by AI. It's not like earlier days where musicians come and compose them using AI. This is like you tell an AI, okay, I want this, give me a music, and it does it. So it's taking a lot of advances, and healthcare, I think, is no exception. So to just add to the healthcare discussion. These are some news items coming from places like Guardian, News Joint. They talk about this title appeared sometimes like two years ago. AI could help NHS surgeons perform 300 more transplants every year. Say UK surgeons. So you can do things faster. Obviously, AI is not going to do the transplant, but it helps do faster or more. Right. So more. So this is a controversial one. This was released by OpenAI. So this is a boy saw 70 doctors over 3 years for chronic pain. ChatGPT found the diagnosis. Right. So, right. So this is like maybe a lot, like advertising money going to it. It coming from that is coming from a news article. This is coming from OpenAI, the company who promotes ChatGPT. More, this is from the NHS website itself. NHS AI expansion to help tackle missed appointments and improve waiting time. So more you can see on the productivity side. Both of them are right. So the Guardian's article and the other one. NHS AI test spots tiny cancers. Again, maybe in the boundary, missed by doctors. That is from BBC. So those are type of things that are happening and what's on the news. And to be honest, that's all I know about how AI is useful or used in healthcare. I know a little about how AI people are using it in education, particularly I was just telling them medical education. They are very serious. Even in Sri Lanka, I see a lot of medical educators see how technology like AI can be used for education. But practice, I don't really know a lot. Right, so I'm going to just share from my perspective the type of research we are doing, the engagement we are having with a few practitioners on how AI we think is useful in health. So that's the discussion I wanted to have. Thank you very much again for having me. And this is the sort of lineup. Quickly, I'll introduce to in a simple term what AI is and where we are, and then I'll go into the current trends in healthcare, that is, and also from those who are involved in research, wanted to do things which are like connected to research but having a real implication in practice. We do some research work at the university just close by. We have what is known as this multidisciplinary AI research center, where we work with practitioners as well of different fields, including healthcare. So I'll just highlight a few things, and you can pick upon that and try new more things. And future directions in general. When you talk about a new technology like AI, and if you are talking about its implication somewhere like healthcare, we can't go without talking about its implications and how we can navigate this space, how careful we have to be. The more stronger the technology is, the more careful we have to be. Right. So we think AI is one like that. Right. So therefore, we had to spend some time talking about how we can carefully navigate this space. So that's the last part one before I get. That's the plan. So I'll start for those who are not so familiar with AI. Maybe the term AI is to some of you is very new. Companies like the OpenAI, so the companies like OpenAI introduced ChatGPT in 2022, later part of 2022, and it took for ChatGPT just 5 days to reach 1 million users. 5 days, right? Compared to a social media platform like Facebook, I see most of us are from the older generation who use Facebook. The newer generation, they don't use Facebook. They use Instagram, they use TikTok. And doctors, maybe we don't use anything, right? So no time, right? So I know, right? So platforms like Facebook took about a year to reach 1 million users, 10 months to be specific. Instagram took about 3 months to reach 1 million users. ChatGPT did it just in 5 days. 5 days, 1 million users. Now every day, hundreds of millions. I think the numbers are about 250 million users are using it every day. Right? So the numbers are increasing. These are like people who are paying and using, then there are people who are using free and so on. So what I'm trying to say is this is very new for most of us. But then the idea whether a machine can be smart or intelligent is pretty old. In a technology point of view, it's really old, like things like computers and all that. It's pretty old, like so. Which is as old as 1942. Not very old compared to a field like healthcare or medicine, but in engineering technology, it's an old thing. Like it's there for a while, and it became popular. The idea became popular in during World War II. So World War II, they were building a machine to encrypt, we call it, or things that are crypted, secret messages that are passed across army. The opposition wanted to break. They can see what's going on, right? So then they actually hired a mathematician scientist in the name of Alan Turing, a British. So he built a machine that can break and see. Also, you get a cryptic text, you look at it and you put it through a machine, and the machine will tell you this is what the real thing is. Right? So to break it, he built the machine. During this experience, he figured it looks like one day these machines can be intelligent. Right? So it can have some intelligence, whatever the intelligence means. Now we know we have a lot of different definitions for intelligence, EQ, IQ, and whatnot. But then that's what the discussion was. And since then, a lot has happened. Right? So for example, one of the main thing that happened, by the way, those days also we were building all these chatbots. The very first chatbot was built in 1964, something like ChatGPT. A chatbot which is nowhere closer to ChatGPT or any other similar platform. I'm just talking about ChatGPT being popular, but then there are many others. Right? So you might already know if you are using something like Google, it has its own similar thing like called Gemini and various others. But the point was, we started building such tools long time back, and we are fascinated, maybe at least us, like the technologists are fascinated about whether machines can talk to us. Like we don't talk to many people. So we like to talk to machines, or see whether the machines can talk like people, and won't complain, won't do anything else, and only talk and listen and whatnot. Right? So that's the idea, and we have been building them long time. And since ChatGPT, all of these were very much like machines. They are not like people, right? So they talk all that. In fact, in 1950, Alan Turing designed a test called the Turing test. The idea of a Turing test is to check whether a machine has intelligence. The test was very simple. What he said was, if you talk to a machine without knowing it's a machine, and if you don't know that it's a machine, you talk to a machine, you chat, let's say you chat with the machine, and it responds. If you don't know that what you are talking to is a machine, then it has intelligence, right? So that's the simple idea he came up with, and we have never been able to make a machine like that until last year. Okay, so last year, researchers now have shown machines can pretend even better than people as people. Right? So the recent experiment show that I can build a machine. And this machine, in fact, the latest experiment that was done and published in good places is that out of like 200 trials that were done, more than half of the time, actually about 80% of the time, the tester thinks the machine is the person. Only about 70% of the time, the tester thinks the person is the person. Right? So you secretly do it, like you don't know whether it's a person or a machine, and you ask somebody to test. And when it's a machine, the person thinks that machine is a person more than the other way around. Right? So machines have become better than people pretending people. Right? So that's hopefully they won't go to a place where they come and ask you for treating. Right? So that's where we are. Like so much has happened since then. One of the things in the history that has happened is these machines were able to, like in 1970s, they were able to win chess, the chess championship. The chess grandmaster, it won the chess grandmaster then, and a lot more smaller changes happened. Something that yeah. So here is one other news. It's coming from 2017, as you can see here. New York Times reporting about a game. Actually, AlphaGo is actually a game, board game. Go is a board game, and this company, Google, built AlphaGo. And this game, the machines were able to win the then Go champion, Chinese game. This is Chinese board game. Why this is important is the way how this software was developed or the AI was developed is very different from the previous ones. So the previous ones, what we were doing is we were doing more of a mathematical thing. We were like looking at, okay, if there's a board game, these are the possible combinations. If I take this combination, this is the probability of me winning. This combination, this is the probability of me winning. So meaning like you do a lot of computations to figure out what the end is, right? So a Go game, that was not possible. Why it was not possible is the number of combinations that are possible in a Go game is 10 to the power 170. 10 and 170 zeros. That many possibilities even the computers can't do. So people figured, can we do something else? People play this game and they win. How they do it is by learning, right? So not by like computing all possible combinations, right? So learning. So therefore, the AI scientists or AI researchers build a machine that's like human brain, neurons, put them together, large number of them, and then make the machines to look at how people play and give combinations. At a certain point, these machines are built such that they can play with each other. Two machines play and learning the same way how a kid will learn. It's not about the possibilities, the combinations, the mathematics, but more of how you learn. So that is the difference, and they were able to win the best person who can play this game in 2017. I'm talking about games, a little more serious, closer to healthcare, I believe, is this happened in 2020, and the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in last year was given to 3 people. One of them is the co-founder is the same company, the game company I was talking about, but then obviously not for the game. But he also built, or the company also built, what is known as a tool called AlphaFold. It folds protein sequences. Right, so you know protein sequences are amino acids and they can be represented in the computer as data. So apparently by 2020, we had about 1 million such sequences identified, 1 million, but to fold or to find the structure of one of these proteins takes about 3 years of a PhD time basically. So a microbiology or like a PhD student comes and spends his whole life folding or finding the structure of one protein. So 1 million. When are we going to do it? We don't know. But then this company came, and actually it's Google. They came and build a software that can learn and fold proteins, and it finished all 1 million within a year. It folded all the proteins, found the structure of all of them, and published this as open source. Anybody can go and use it. Drug companies can go and use it. Anybody else who's using researchers can go and use it, and so on. So the Nobel Prize for last year's chemistry was given to that project, and the members were the project, 2 chemists and 1 computer scientist, the one who built this software. So why I'm bringing this example is, as you can see, when the Nobel Prize Committee or whatever they're called also have seen the impact, the importance of a tool like this and the technique like machine learning is, and at the same time we also can see its implications, right? So, and the next sort of interesting thing for me, so it looks like I also can win a Nobel Prize, right? So I never thought when I came to engineering that there's any chance for me, right? So engineering data, we don't have one of those, right? So, but now there are some loopholes, right? So in fact, the interesting thing is last year's physics Nobel Prize is also shared by a computer scientist for something similar, AI related, right? So it's all coming together. And so important that I'm talking about physics and chemistry. I didn't talk about other fields, but the point is it's the computer science, AI related things are connecting other fields together. That's what we see. How serious these tools are, just to give you a quick understanding. These are coming from the tests that are done. By the way, this is published by Stanford. They publish every year a report called AI Index report. And they are comparing the average human performance to different tools, AI tools. So these AI tools, for example, one of those tools is to do image recognition, recognize what's in an image. You give an image, see what's in it, right? So an AI tool, we have been building it in 2008-9, and by 2015 or 16, we were able to build tools that are better than average human in recognizing images. So they can do image recognition better than people, right? So similar things like reading comprehension. So you can see specific items they are able to do better. Towards the end, we also have been trying to make AI tools to write programs. Both generation is writing computer programs. They are reasonably doing well, you can see, but this 2023, here is the latest. This report was released just early this year. You can see 2024 numbers are also there. A couple of things to point out. One is this. So now AI tools can answer PhD level science questions better than people, better than the PhD students, right? So PhD level science question, whatever they are, right? So and then the only thing that they can still do really well, as per the last report, is this multimodal understanding and reasoning. Multimodal meaning we understand things not by just listening, but also by what's happening in the environment, our experience, various other things. So that sort of a thing, still the AI systems are not good. But when you have so many different inputs coming in, and you want to make a decision based on all these inputs at the same time, they are not that good. It's not like they are bad. You can see they are about 90%. Right? So not so good so far, but we are doing work. Researchers are doing work on input. So you can see, and also one other thing you can see is the earlier things like image classification. To make it from 90 to 100, it took a few years. It's a flat curve. But the new ones, they're happening so fast, right? So they are all shooting up. Like you can PhD level projects, they started year before last year. So the support for anything new with AI systems are becoming so and so easy. Anybody can do it particularly because now the AI systems have this thing called the natural language processing. So it can understand what people say. It can translate what we say. We don't have to talk to it in its language. We can talk to it in our language. And therefore anybody can use it. So anybody can use it to make things faster. So including you, right? So that's the idea. In fact, this is something sort of everybody is concerned. Work time distribution by industries. So how AI system is impacting different industries. So that the all industries, the four colors. One is higher potential for automation. So all industries, across industries, as per this study, about 30% of the things are going to be automated with higher probability. So this one, the 9% is whether we can work together, like AI plus people, augmenting. This is completely automating, augmenting. The next one is lower potential. This one you can't do. You need people to do. AI systems can't do anything about it. Right, so that's the comparison overall. I just have highlighted health as well. The numbers are not very different, as you can see in health. The only thing is the last number is a bit small compared to certain others. Right, so that's where we are in terms of how much of these things can be automated, how much we have to get involved, and how much we have to do. We can't rely on these systems anymore. When you say automated, it's mostly automatic, but others. By the way, when I say health, it includes everything, right? So all the logistics and whatnot. It's not just about what's happening, but you all do, right? So what everybody does, right? So it includes the whole process. I see that. So let me just, that is like an overall idea, and let me just quickly give you some current trends that are happening. I'm sure places like other countries, they are talking about how healthcare can be indicated. So the healthcare has this healthcare 1 to 5 sort of a transition. The healthcare 5 includes things like personalized medicine and patient-centered services. These are things that everybody wants to do, and I'm sure Singapore is doing it already. I hope we are not, and I think we are not sure. Right. So I hope we wanted to go there, and there are a lot of efforts at different levels we are taking as a country, but maybe we are not properly connected and understood how things work in a better way, because we pay a lot of attention to democracy and everybody's contribution to the economy of the country or the livelihood of the country. So whatever reason, so but that is where we want to go in terms of healthcare. And all these things are now coming together. Like one of the topics that usually we do and work on is this thing called medical things or Internet of Medical Things. As you know, most of these devices are now connected to Internet. When these things are connected to Internet, so just to give you an idea, AI learn all this from data. So to AI, anything is just data. I give this example. For instance, the world map for ChatGPT. ChatGPT is something you might use, or at least your kids or somebody else will be using, right? So ChatGPT, its world map is just the data that it represented. Sri Lanka is not even there in that map. Right? Sri Lanka has very little data out there. So Sri Lanka for ChatGPT is nothing. At the same time, even a smaller country like Singapore to ChatGPT is a big thing because Singapore puts out a lot of data. So it's a totally different world map, right? So countries where we don't have enough data generated is not in that map. That's also a reason why we also have what is known as this bias. AI system will identify different groups, different countries, economies, people, cultures by just looking at data. Nothing else, right? So data is therefore big, and here when you connect all your medical devices to the internet, the good part about it is all of these are collecting data, various type of data of patients and processes and various other things. So this is, if you can put them together, it's a simple thing then to make an AI system to help logistics, help the use of those news articles. Right? So various places we can help, even diagnosis and others. I'll not go into that area for the sensitivity of it, but it's possible to try all that. So this is recently old report from Europe, and Europe healthcare system they call it. So that system they were talking about the places where AI can significantly impact the health system. So they have identified 8 different areas. Imaging, as you might know, is one of the areas where a lot of AI systems can help. It sort of master, I would say, even compared to specialists. Imaging is some place, and then there are others are less, but then the others are also there. There are 8 areas here. And also the same report talks about how these systems are saving lives and how saving money and saving time, those aspects. So they just took a screenshot from this particular MedTech Europe report 2020. And more, right? So automated patient communication, we are mostly talking about it, I think. At least our private sector is doing a little, but I also was told that what they do is also very little. I'm sure most of you are also involved. But then the amount of automation of how they can use data to do support patient or do patient care is very little. But then we can do a lot more with that as well. Not just patient management or logistics, but also in other fields like education, medical education, that is. So simulations, virtual reality simulations. So this also we can now can be done using AI systems or medical technology-based systems. More, right? So the different areas where we can use them, these are coming from certain reports. The tools and the equipment that are enabled now with AI systems are keep increasing. So on the same line, the type of things we are doing, only a few examples from Peradeniya, I wanted to highlight. In fact, like we have officially started a center called Multidisciplinary AI Research Center. Anybody is welcome to work with us, bring problems. The whole idea is the center is centered around engineering AI, but the problems are coming from all the other domains. Right? So medical or healthcare is one of the key domains. So what we do is you bring problems, we'll work together to solve. Most, like as you can see, it's a research center and therefore it's mostly research, but we also are interested in seeing how it can be practiced, how it can be sent to practice, and whether we can make even like companies or whether we can make it innovation and so on. So that's a lot of interest there. Okay, so some examples, I think you know better than me about any of these. So we have been building things like for fatal movement detection. We have published papers, we have published data about it and so on, which are useful for doing more research. Premature birth detection. So these are projects that we have been doing. Just to give you some examples, oral cancer, other project we have done, and we have published data and a lot of. So things like the point is, let's take an example like this, because this is a project that I was involved and therefore I can talk a little more. Oral cancer type projects we have been doing in universities for a long time for how we can use this is white light. Can we use white light images to identify oral cancer early? Right, so that's the project. And when you want to do a project like this earlier, what we do, we download some images from somewhere and build a system, right? So what are we really doing? We are solving somebody else's problem, right? So somebody have put out data and we take that and solve their problem, publish a paper. Maybe the good thing that happens is that problem somebody else's gets solved, right? So we are realizing it. Recently we started collecting our own data and putting them out. So for this particular project, we have about 4,000 or 3,000 odd images that are put out. And now around within a year, about 120 research groups are working on the data. So solving our problem, right? So you can also think of similar things, situations where you have problems which are local. We can solve it is one. The other one is we can also put this data out in a proper format, in a proper way, with all the clearances and whatnot, so that anybody else who is doing research can also solve our problems. Right? And also the AI landscape, we have our place. Right? So that's something that we can do, work together. There are others and other dental projects related to pillar canals. We also doing work a lot on things like imaging with generative AI. So generative AI, as you might, I don't know how much of you know, things like generative AI is a new type, like what ChatGPT or OpenAI released, is things that AI can now generate new things, right? So how people generate new things. Earlier, what we were doing is AI systems can learn and help us group things, so classify things, identify whether this is a cat or a dog, or whether there's cancer or not, right? So that sort of thing. But now the AI system can make new things, like it can come up with a new or an image of what possible cancer, right? So it can come up with those images by knowing what it knows already, right? So it's like how we do, right? So how people do. So the same way AI systems can do, and it can also generate reports. It can help with a lot of different problems. So we have been doing some work in that line as well. We are also working on wearable technology. Some projects related, lot of different sports medicine and lot of different examples. These are projects, like I mentioned earlier, coming from the Multidisciplinary AI Research Center. Only a few of them I am involved, but altogether there are about 50 different projects happening, and I think with more than 10 projects in health. Right, so and there are other projects in other fields as well, agriculture and whatnot. So these are things that we have been doing, and also it's possible for any one of you to get involved if you want to see how you can solve a problem using technology. Right, so the whole idea is technology can solve these problems faster, right, or efficient. It doesn't mean technology can solve the problem by itself. Right, so obviously people have to be there, and experts have to be there, so that the technology can take it forward. Right, so those are the different type of projects we are doing, and just to spend some time talking about the future direction, the possibilities, and also I'm very happy to take any your feedback, comments, how we can engage, how we can connect with people, and so on. So let's first talk a few things about the future. One is, so this is again like a coming from a study that's coming from US. So they are talking about how generative AI, or the new technology of AI, like I told you now, is going to influence healthcare in terms of numbers. Just a single one type of AI. Just to give you some perspective, the estimate is by 2030, AI technology is going to influence the global economy by about $20 trillion. $20 trillion. Sri Lanka's economy is $80 billion. right? So $20 trillion. Even if you get like a small pinch of it coming here, we do some things. We are on the right. Right, so here we are only talking about a specific type like generative AI, things that generates images, text, and whatnot, music and whatnot. Right, but it's not everything. So there is a lot more than generative AI. The examples I told you about, and the one I was showing, are not all about generative AI. Just to point you back. So there's not much generative AI involved here. These are AI systems that can like identify a particular pattern, identify what's going on, not generate new things. Right, so that's a different type. But then here, here I was talking about things that are about generative AI. For instance, whether we can generate a report or come up with a plan for a diagnosis and things like that are generated. So that's a bit different between the two. So generative AI itself can contribute to economy. Those are the numbers. You can see those are in billion dollars. Just one type of AI, and therefore it's just, and also it's only on healthcare, right? So you can see the LLMs will become a common addition to wearable devices, offering access to various sensors and so on. So it's becoming more and more possible to do this sort of integration. I'll show a small video a little later where how interesting we can integrate things, not specifically for medicine, but in general. Here again some trends. This is a report from 2023. Impact of top 10 AI trends in healthcare. So healthcare, where AI we think or the study thinks is going to be useful. Analytics, healthcare analytics, look at data and figuring out what's going on. And diagnosis is not far away. As per this report, about more than 20% of the time, it's possible to use AI system. So work with AI system on diagnostics as a telehealth is another one, right? So that's something that I think we are not doing enough compared to even some other countries within the region. They are like Japan, Korea, for instance. They do a lot of exchange for telehealth, and also Singapore is also part of it. Their group. So they, in fact, because I'm coming from a place where we provide infrastructure like the network, the connectivity, applications, and so on, even for the region. And we have been doing several projects. I know that how much money they spend, the countries like Singapore, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, the Hong Kong, the richer countries in the region on exchanging things. Like there's this telemedicine working group in Japan and Korea. They even do operation based. They have been coming and showing us, okay, I'm in Korea, I can do an operation somewhere. So they do such level of things. They are with lot of care and careful infrastructure design, careful ethical design and all that, but they do such things. So it's possible to do such things as well. So that's the telehealth side of it. And medical robotics is a small area, but in terms of number, it's a small area, but we can do a lot on robotic side. Management of things, so that's hospital management, logistics type of thing. Those are the other things that come on the top 10 trends related to healthcare and AI. So this is of the same nature, but not in terms of rank, but the different type of things that's coming from another study on how AI system we think can integrate. Some things that are missing from the previous one, because the previous one is just about numbers and which ones are the top with the number, are things like augmented reality, virtual reality for diagnosis and also for education. So where we can use, I hope you know a little about AR, VR or augmented and virtual reality. So whether we can use them for education and diagnosis. I was showing some example earlier. We are a glass and like learn things. In fact, like we are also building some projects like that with our dental faculty. Where we are building an educational tool for the dental students. Where we integrate some AR, VR type technology. So there are more things, and also things that I didn't discuss, although I started the discussion with things like genomics, is genomic data analysis. I see that some of them are even happening here, right? So not only in like research or like education, but also in practice, right? So diagnosis and various other places where we use the genomics. Right? So that is sort of where the future is going and the direction and how we can get involved. Like I also told you, I see that the Ministry of Health is now has attracted a lot of grants funds from all on from some countries and World Bank and others, and trying to automate, trying to help make the productivity of the healthcare system here better. And I hope all our awareness and support and how we can get involved is something that is useful. So before I conclude, let me take a few moments to talk about the ethical implications. I also call it the responsible AI. So when you want to use a technology, we also have to be concerned about its implication on the society, individuals, and anyone who is in there, all the stakeholders. So I just will spend a little time telling you the ethical implications and the consideration. I'll start with something totally different, a small video.
This is what I want. This is what I need.
Meet Louie, the device that brings your smartphone to life, elevating your desktop experience to a whole new level. Making full use of your smartphone's hardware and our built-in sensors, Louie can fully sense his surroundings. Sometimes he's a bit mischievous, but he knows where the boundaries are. If he oversteps, let him know.
Hey, Louie, take a break.
Besides interacting with you, Louie also enjoys some occasional alone time. You can try grabbing Louie's attention, but don't provoke him, or he will fight back. You can ask Louie to tell you a joke. The ChatGPT-generated jokes never repeat. Or just relax and enjoy time with your new gaming buddy. With Louie, you'll discover countless precious moments you might have missed in the past. He'll automatically select the best angle and capture the memory. Plus, he's very responsive to hand gestures. Louie transforms into a wireless charger for your phone when you're concentrating on other stuffs. It keeps reminding you of important information. Sometimes Louie can get a little scared. Comfort him with a gentle touch to make him feel safe and secure. With Louie, remote interaction with your loved ones is now possible. You can remote control Louie and explore the world from his perspective. And even send animations with hand gestures. All your precious ephemeral moments are now kept by him. Every interaction makes Louie more attuned to you. Ultimately, each Louie becomes unique to you.
Hey, Louie, I guess we'll be stuck here for a bit longer.
With our advanced biomimetic behavior engine and ChatGPT integration, Louie promises endless, delightful interactions that keep you engaged. He's a whimsical little desktop robot, remote avatar, gaming companion, wireless charger, and more. Your phone has always had a soul. It's now time to give it a body. Say hello to Louie.
So obviously that's a typical computer engineer who doesn't want to keep people close by, but a companion, right? So, but you can see the possibilities. Two things I want to highlight. One, by just building a small tiny robot connected to a phone and an app, you can make it into a companion. So it has become so easy, and the companion is very smart because it's connected to things like ChatGPT. And at the same time, we also can see how these things are getting integrated into life. Right, so you can see it's like very much personal. It's completely getting integrated. So when these things get integrated into life like this, we also have to take it more seriously and take a step back and look at what's really going on. Right. So we as computer engineers don't usually do that, and hopefully someone else will come and do such checks and balances. Right. So So therefore it's something very serious that we have to worry about, and therefore I'll spend a couple of minutes and talk about some of those aspects. So some problems in using technology is one, any technology has this same issue, is known as the risk of over reliance. So tools like this technology is so overwhelming because I told you, right, in 5 days you reach 1 million users, and every day hundreds of million users are using technology like ChatGPT, and therefore it's a high risk environment, and particularly when you see its implications, and it can do, like I was showing in the graph, certain things it can do better than us, and therefore we sometimes might think it can do everything better than us, and also it can do things better and faster, and also more reliably, can bring a perception like that, which is a danger. So how do we overcome this issue? In general, I hope you know about the Dunning-Kruger effect. The whole idea is you have to go through the cycle. So when you find such technology, wow, you think, okay, it can do everything. But over time, if you engage, the only way is to engage with the technology so that you know what it can do and what it cannot do. So when you engage with the technology at a certain point, you figure out, okay, this is all what it can do, then you can use it better. Right? So that's the idea. Right? So engage with it, don't get scared, and spend some time, and therefore you can do things better in the future. That's the idea, but that is one of the dangers. Other dangers are these tools are not like us. They reasonably do okay with things like logical reasoning, but they don't do perfectly well in logical reasoning, because like I told you, these systems are no longer a mathematical model-based thing. It's just it's like we are trying to replicate what human brain does. So we don't really know what's going on, to be honest. Right? Even the computer programmers or those who are building AI systems have no clear clue on how things are working. The same way, maybe you also don't know how the human brain works perfectly, if you think about it. Right? So it can do right things, it can do wrong things, it can like pretend things, all that it can do. So therefore, it's not perfect at logical reasoning. So we have to be careful about. There are some examples in the interest of time I'm not going to, but if you give a reasonably hard problem, logical reasoning problem, it fails. That's a simple idea. And it can't do well in those. And one other thing is technology like this is feeding in data from the whole internet. Right? When you see the whole internet, there is enough junk in the internet. Right? So it's feeding data from everywhere, and therefore it's dangerous. Right? So it can have a lot of misinformation, wrong ones, and also people can use these tools to make things like these fake news, which looks good, right, but wrong, and deep fake and so on. So that's a lot of danger. And I already mentioned about bias. So for tools like ChatGPT, Sri Lanka is not in its map because we don't have enough data. Right? So if you want to do something about, if you want to ask the tools to do something about Sri Lanka's, our culture, our integration, our health issues, it doesn't know. Right? If you find a cure, if you ask for something about our thing, it might say something about the North American thing, right? Or a Singapore thing, or at least an Indian thing, not a Sri Lanka. So those are, that is called bias. It depends on the data that it knows, and we don't have a lot of it out there. And also these things are not up to date. They get outdated. In fact, these systems, they do only this full update the system not very often, because to do a single full update, it takes a few $100 million, right? So one update, a complete update of the system, consumes about $200 million. Right? A lot of money and a lot of time. So they do it only a few times a year. You might know, like they are releasing this GPT-4, if you take OpenAI, GPT-3, GPT-5 data about it, it happens very rarely, like 5 times a year. So if the last update happened like 3 months ago, all what we are consuming now are from the last update, not the latest one. So things are not up to date. Like if we are familiar with things like using technology and using things like Google search, which is more up to date, that they do much faster. One more concern, and the serious concern, particularly in healthcare, is privacy or data privacy. So, because we are living in a culture, we are Eastern and also Sri Lankan, our culture is very open, right? So, at least within our circle, we know everything about everybody else in our close circles, extended family, relatives. We know who is having which disease. We know who is having what not, and all everything else, right? So when tools like this get integrated into our life, like a companion, we might feel that's also part of our close circle. But really, reality is it's not. These systems are connected to the whole world, right? So, and therefore, if you put something out in those systems, it can go out to everyone, right? So, we have to be careful about those, right? So, those are the challenges, and what we can do about it is obviously keeping people aware and seeing how we can protect it. There are a lot of discussions, a lot of policies, even when a government is coming up with, we already have what is known as the Data Protection Act, but we are updating the policy so that we can have a better version of it in the AI technology, this sort of area. Right, so that those are things that we are trying and we should be aware when we use this. Let me conclude. Just to conclude, I will take example from, in fact, like this is a long chat, but I wanted to just show how outdated these systems are. Maybe I'll just, in fact, I asked ChatGPT, are there any way, so in fact, like what I was asking is related to AlphaGo. I was telling you about it, and AlphaFold. I was asking what these two things are. This is like it hallucinating. It's saying like at the beginning it says okay, AlphaGo, AlphaFold connected in how they are connected. It says both of these things are good groundbreaking AI systems developed by DeepMind. But then I ask next thing: are they in any way connected to a Nobel Prize? Keep the response short, as in last time. Says neither AlphaGo nor AlphaFold are directly they are not connected. So this it also says AlphaFold has an biological impact and so on. So but nothing about this Nobel Prize thing, because like I told you, it's outdated data. So but then when I give some more information, can you double check? What about the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 2024? Then you can see it gives an answer. So the way how you ask question, it gives answers in different ways. When you just ask it, it says no. And then I ask, okay, what about this particular thing? And then it says yes. So it can go on like this in different situations. So we have to be very careful in how we do this, right? So, I mean, with that, something that we have to be very careful about is we call this HILP, or in short, human in the loop. Human is part of any AI system. That is what we basically say. So we have to make sure if you are using these systems, make sure people are there, experts are there. And the simple thing I say is anybody who want to use this tool should use it only if they know what they expect as an output. Right? So the example I gave, only if you know what they expect as an output, you use it. Only thing is you can do it much faster. Right? So using these tools, you can do faster. Productivity we have seen. In fact, like there are a lot of studies showing that the productivity of anything improves by at least about 2.5 times. Anything that you do that is like work of with data, text, and anything improves by about 2.5 times. So we can do things faster. But at the same time, it's our responsibility to make sure we are part of the thing and we know what we expect. In terms of safeguarding confidentiality, this is something that maybe I should just highlight. Avoid sharing sensitive information. Use generic example when you are talking to tools like this. Anonymize information. This is the general ethics 101. Check platform security. Read what they are saying about sharing data. These are things that anybody has to be careful, and particularly in a field like yours, in terms of confidentiality. And who is responsible when something failed? In fact, the courts in recent times have found the person who is using responsible for any one of these things. So here are some examples. So this is someone, this one was from the Prof, as you can see, Canada lawyer under fire for submitting fake cases created by chatbot. Right? So there's enough and more examples like this. There are school employee arrested after deepfake. Right? So people who are using it are responsible, and therefore we have to be more careful about this. And let me finish with that. And thank you very much for having me. And I hope I made a small change in the way how you look at technology and particular things. Thank you very much.
So I know there will be so many questions to ask. So shall we give about 10 minutes for him to ask? Give about 10 minutes for the audience to ask questions. I know there will be so many. So we easily use ChatGPT and get answers. Yeah. So one thing that concerns me is that when you use these supercomputers, so they're worried about this other things and so much of energy being used and all that. So are there any concerns or restrictions that are coming?
Yeah, in fact, that's a very good question about the what do you call it, the environmental, the sustainability point of view. So this is the point, right? So the sustainability point of view, I have some numbers in some other place. Like for example, now if you use something like ChatGPT generate 100 words, apparently it consumes energy equivalent to running 6 LED bulbs for 1 hour. Just 100-word document. If you want to, just 100 word is small, right? So 100-word document to prepare it, ChatGPT consumes power equal to running 6 LED bulbs for 1 hour. Just 100 words. So that's the amount of power it consumes. But then the counter argument to that is this 100 word, if somebody sit and do it, let's say I sit here and write 100 words, how long will I take? Right? So it's done in ChatGPT does it in milliseconds or nanoseconds. Right? So if you do it, I might spend about half an hour polishing it, all that. If I keep the AC on and all these lights on, I consume more power than. So in terms of a productivity sort of an angle, there is, you can have counter argument both sides. Right? So the same goes for even like carbon footprint and other things similar. But the point is, I think now that there is technology, we are going to generate more and more. We are going to do more. Right? So in terms of an overall impact, yes, it's going to have a large impact. And the next thing is things like these tools said to be slowing down because of energy requirements. Right? So the estimate is that by 2028, 29, the speed at which these things are growing is going to slow down by about 40% or half. So because there's not enough energy that is generated, that is available, unless we come up with some new ways of renewable or some sort of energy. So that's a serious challenge, yes. But it's both ways. You can always argue about this.
So you have anything to ask?
Yeah. No, I was just thinking while we're talking. When we were children, we saw 2001: A Space Odyssey, and in that we saw in 2001 the robots taking over the world, right? In terms of intelligence as well as not. Now, thankfully, quarter century later, we haven't come that stage yet. Do you think that it will ever come? And when would you think that that's possible?
How we have terminated?
Yeah. So in fact, the doomsday. The point is, I mean, those who are more into history, philosophy, what they are saying is it doesn't have to come that way, you know. Like we don't have to come. It doesn't have to be like how it's in the movie, 2001 Odyssey or Terminators. It doesn't have to be like that, because how technology is getting integrated to people, companion like this or a chatbot, anything. When you want to make decisions based on what's around us, so the technology we have. So because I'll give you a different example. It was somewhere 3 years ago. The company Meta, Facebook, those who are running Facebook, they fired an employee because that employee fell in love with an AI bot, right? And he believed that AI bot is real, like that sort of a thing, right? And then he went out and said, okay, this AI bot has some human in it. right? And they had to fire the employee and all sort of things that happen. But the point is, people can get influenced by these sort of things and can do anything. We don't have to have a Terminator type of or space odyssey type of robots coming and doing it, right? So because human culture, the history, if you are reading something like you all know Harari, so people like the historians, those who are looking at it philosophy, what they are saying is language is something that has shaped the way how we are communication language. So here the new AI systems we are talking about large language models. So they can influence the way how we think, work, integrate, talk to each other, communicate. All that they can influence, and therefore we can change without even we know it. Right? So it's already happened. Right? So it doesn't have to be like somebody coming and doing it. We can do it to each other. Like for instance, the AI system, so the way how it's influencing people can happen. That's just what I think.
Lanka is not there in the ChatGPT map. Anything that we can do?
Yes, definitely you can do a lot. Like so the whole idea, what I mean by that is our data is not out there, right? So some other things are already happening. Digitizing is what we had to do. So even if you find problem, the example I mentioned about a specific medical or clinical problem, the oral cancer photos, if you put them properly, clearly identified and put them out, it becomes a dot in our data space. Right? So then somebody who is going to use it for any work, they'll use that data and Sri Lanka becoming part of Sri Lankan data. So that's one side. But if you take things like the language models, it's about specifically language. Right? So the language researchers recently, that's what happening. The computer science or the engineering people plus the language type people are coming together and coming up with a lot of data that can be put out. Now actually we don't, earlier times we had to build these systems. Now we don't really have to build systems, we have just had to put the data. The systems are going to take anyway all these things and train, right? So as if you want to be part of the map, we had to put the data in one form or the other, whether it's language, whether it is medical related, agriculture, anything. We have to put the data. That's what we can do.
Recently, I read a small article regarding a 17-year-old boy. Yes, basically, I think you know that one. He has communicated either ChatGPT or Gemini, I don't know which one. Nearly about 3 months to plan his either sale farm or suicide. And it was successful. Apparently, that platform has helped him in various ways. Is there any way block or defend this kind of things, or it is something?
That's another good question. In fact, platforms like ChatGPT is blocking a lot of these things, right? So, in fact, like, it's not like we let all the data taken, trained by a system, and then whatever the question you ask, it gives an answer. So that's not happening. So even now, the engineers are stopping, looking at, we call them guardrails. The idea is they are stopping questions like this. So such question you ask doesn't give an answer, right? But then people who are smart can come around, right? So what they can do is they can say, okay, I'm coming up with a practice, like a test, or I'm going to write a movie or a novel where the hero has to die or suicide. Give me a script, can give, right? So they can come around such situations to do get help. Yes, it's possible, but there are a lot of things done in that line, like in the line of how you can block certain things because it's taking data from all over the place. It has all this information. Internet has these things. Right? So it doesn't have to be ChatGPT. You can go and find in the internet how to suicide in 100 different ways, 1,000 different ways. You can find. So those things are now collected together and put together. Right? So that, but then the system builders are trying hard to block, but they can always come around.
So, I mean, in a very easy way, like what you can do is, for an example, so I got a patient, a Russian woman, like about last week. So I had a problem with communication because no one is communicating because she came with a problem. So we sorted out that when they just opened my chat to go and translate everything what she was getting, and it was straight away. I put my things and it was a very easy communication. So nothing to worry about, even anything today, because I know that there is a limitations, but what I understood with using this one, and there's no way of communication. So this was actually helped me to communicate. Even some of my Tamil patients, which I don't know, like are using the using my phone, and it was a very easy communication for me to do everything very clear. So I mean, I don't know the level that we are using, because this is just a basic level, but even we can go to a very high level, because I know because I'm working with another team from my discipline, the sports medicine, like we do few projects, like we at the moment is going on very well because we at basic level, but we do the human motion analysis and sports analysis, which coming in a very bigger way. So I think we're going to an extent, because AI is directly because we know the data that we give, how much they generate, and obviously we don't need to go for any physical, the contacts, physical meetings, anything that we do with, everything happening in my center, and it is the data is going there. Some data has been already generated. I think everybody, has to come in a different way. I know the ethical consideration, and also the as you said, the safeguarding our data is coming in safe way. So we discuss all these things. And what is your opinion about the best tool at the moment? Because there are so many things. I know it has different versions and different the capacities.
That's in fact a difficult question to answer. And so which tool is better, the generative AI tools, which chatbot is better? So in fact, like usually I have this slide, I think I can. So in fact, like general use, one of these tools, they are all very similar. Like if you take ChatGPT or Gemini, there are few tools. DeepSeek now from China, they are concerned. Some are concerned about the China keeps that data because they are giving all the tools for free for now. So so some of these tools are very similar in terms of what they do, how they work, how they have collected data, very similar. The most important part is not about the tool, but learning how to use it. Right? So the example I was giving you, right? So we had, so there are again courses or programs, workshops on how to use these tools effectively. I'm talking about generic tools that we can just talk and. But then there are specific tools like for medical work or research or education. There are specific tool designs. So for example, even ChatGPT has a version called Study and Learn. Right? So even ChatGPT has an option. If you go and look at it, Study and Learn. The option is that it is for learning. Right? So you don't. It doesn't give you answers when you ask questions. It makes you to learn. So it's good for learners, students, or anybody who's learning a particular topic. So that's just an example. But then there are specific tools for doing research. There are research-related tools. They only give answers based on research papers, not based on every other public data. So there are specific tools like that. I'm sure I'm not very familiar, but there should be tools specifically for medical-related data. So such tools are there. I know there's a tool called AgriBot, which is for agriculture. Right? So there's only these answers within that domain. So the problem of this generic tool, like I said, is it's read from everything. Everything that's out there in the internet. So it would have read something in medicine, it would have read something in agriculture, it would have read something in management, economics, arts, creative writing, and it put all that together, And therefore, if you ask for a medical answer, it might give something from creative writing. Right? So that's a dangerous problem. Right, so places like that, one, if you are using generic tool, you should know how you can narrow it down to bring to your problem. Other one is use specific tools that are just built for that data. That's a little about tools.
the specification, they will just stick to that. Just insert the content and give me some articles on this. So anyway, so we are taking time. So any more questions or? Yeah. Yes.